Hello, thank you for joining me to explore the opportunities and the energy and to flow with the climate on offer at this total lunar eclipse in Virgo. I always try to make any guidance around the moon that I give to be really practical because I think when we work with the cycles of the moon, what we're really doing is committing to a deep communion with ourselves, whether that be healing, whether that be expansion, or whether that be just a deep unfolding to the truth of self. And whilst this full moon, this total lunar eclipse, throws up a lot of cosmic energies, I'm intentionally not going to get bogged down in all the nitty gritty of that with you because I'd rather make this a really practical, nourishing, and inspiring, if I can, opportunity for us to sit together and work with this energy in a way that is going to serve us and therefore the greater good. I will start though by prefacing this with eclipse energy. Eclipse energy gets such a bad rap because they are known for times of turbulence, of sudden change, of pivots that perhaps were not planned or deeply thought about and desired. And whilst that necessarily isn't untrue, it is not the whole picture. We get 2 eclipses a year. This is not new energy. And when we enter an eclipse portal, what we are really being gifted the opportunity to do is to have a massive clear out and a moment of deep introspective reckoning with ourselves. It's a moment twice a year where, yes, the energies are a lot more heightened and intense, but they're there for that intensity so that we're able to fully expand into our own intensity, where we're able to fully expand into our own reckonings with ourselves, something that our modern day lives don't really give us the opportunity to do. And so I think it's a deep, radical act of self-love and empowerment and sovereignty to work with the cycles of the moon, eclipse season or not, because we're constantly then in a state of that communion with ourselves. The beautiful aspect of this full moon lunar eclipse is going to be the fact that it is the first one we're going to have with the lunar nodes having shifted. So we have eclipse seasons when the sun and the moon are close to the north and the south node. And as you will know, we have recently shifted into a north node being in Pisces and a south node being in Virgo. The south node representing all the things that we're releasing, we're letting go of, we're evolving from. And the north node indicating where it is that we're going as a collective and as individuals that make up that collective. So right now at this full moon, the sun is sitting really closely in communion with the north node in Pisces. As a collective over the next 18 months, we are exploring the themes that this archetype allows us to expand into. Intuition, dreaming, creativity, the big picture stuff. Individually, we'll all be thinking in our lives, what is the ultimate dream? As someone who is always so sure of the next dream, I am extremely murky and confused. And I'm being called into space to be able to step in to see what the next dream is for me that will serve me and my heart and my soul and my purpose and my joy, but also be of great value to the collective. And the south node, where the moon is sitting right next to it, this full moon, because it is a total lunar eclipse, they're as tight as they're going to be, is in Virgo, where we can see what it is that we really need to let go of that prevents us from the expanse of the dream. The Virgo archetype gets a very bad rap. It's really focused on that whole probably patriarchy version of the Virgo archetype, which is very organized, very attention to detail, kind of like work until it gets it all done, stressed, all of that kind of stuff. But really, Virgo as an archetype is very intuitive and uses the body as a dowsing tool in order to see what is right for it and what is not right for it. So at this full moon, we're sitting in these energies quite intensely for the first time. It's an opportunity for us to sit with the dream, the vision, and where are we blocking it by holding on to the small details, the perfectionism, the going over and over in things, or feeling like we need to be completely ready till we get to that. And I can't help but notice there's this beautiful contrast between these energies that are very masculine and feminine. We know that we have been in a very masculine age, in the age of Capricorn, and we have the age of Aquarius really holds many ideals of the divine feminine. And we live in a patriarchal society which has raped and pillaged us of our own individual sovereignty and wisdom. And I believe firmly that individually and therefore as a collective, we're moving back towards our organic nature, that of the divine feminine. Where perhaps in my dream, maybe I do have a dream, in my dream, the matriarchy reigns supreme, where everyone's needs are taken care of, where it's for the good of all, not just for the good of few. So if we think about this dichotomy of the south node or this full moon being in this Virgo, where are we perhaps anchored to or being pulled down by the need to know the way of the masculine as opposed to trusting the wisdom of the feminine within ourselves? When a masculine has a dream, they see it and then they get very strategic on how they're going to achieve it. This is great. This is often how we're all taught to run our lives. Remember, we are under the rule of the patriarchy. The feminine's very different, the Piscean North Node. It's all about having the knowing that this is the dream or the vision of how things could be for us individually. And then rather than making these strategic steps, that Virgo energy of tick it off, climb the rungs of the ladder bit by bit, the feminine just knows the way will appear. With each step, an intuitive nudge, a synchronicity, an alignment will show the next step to create the dream. It's a creation, not a conquest. So at this full moon, with everything that's going on, and like I said, I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of all the planets and all of that because we don't necessarily need to know that. But what we need to feel into is how am I holding myself back from the flow, from the intuition, from the knowing, from the playfulness, from the creativity, from the interconnectedness and the love, North Node, by holding on to structures and ways that are restricting me. Is it limiting beliefs? Is it an attachment to the idea that you need to work really hard in order to be really profitable? Is it this obsession with making it perfect as opposed to allowing it to create? So as you sit in this very powerful portal of rapid change, is this a reckoning that you can have with yourself? A moment where you can alchemize the embodiment of a more divine feminine way as opposed to a dominance of the masculine. In the Moon membership, I obviously talk through this, but I dedicated the premium membership. They get a video in their portal on the website where I did go into the embodiment of the divine feminine for them as opposed to just the representation of it, and how we can definitely exude the qualities of the divine feminine without embodiment, but with embodiment we naturally exude the magnetism, the alignment, the absolute greatness of the divine masculine. I know that take is not what many astrologists would come to you with, but if it resonated with you and if it's something you would love to work with, then obviously I would love to have you join me on the Moon membership, where I provide you with everything that you need to explore yourself in this deep and profoundly transformative way. Take care of yourself in eclipse season. Be kind to yourself. The answers don't need to be crystal clear, and especially nor does the way. But once you walk the way, it will appear, as Rumi so wisely advised us. Happy full moon, total lunar eclipse in Virgo.